News Center Maine is partnering with the Maine-Monitor to bring you some of the reporting that's being done by the journalists there at the nonprofit independent publication. And we'll be bringing you and featuring one of those stories every Monday. So today we are talking about criminal records, legislation introduced earlier this month by Democratic State Senator Rachel Talbot Ross would automatically seal criminal records for certain crimes. Now, supporters of the bill say it gives people with a criminal record a second chance. Opponents say it goes too far. Emily Bader is a reporter with the Maine-Monitor, which has just published her story over the debate around this bill. Emily, thanks for being with us for this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with this question to break it down a little bit for folks. So how would this bill change the current process for sealing those criminal records?
So the biggest change is that it makes it automatic. As it stands now, in order to get a criminal conviction sealed, someone has to file a motion with the court. There's a hearing where both the person who is convicted of the crime and prosecutors get to make their case before a judge. A judge evaluates, decides if they've met all the criteria needed to seal that conviction, and then issues written findings. Instead of doing all of that, this would just make it automatic, and it also expands the crimes which are eligible to be sealed.
So a few changes there. So let's talk about the supporter side of it. Supporters of the bill, why do they want to see this change happen?
Well, one of the things they've said is that the system or the process as it is now, it's not widely known. And then when it is known, that it can be inaccessible due to time or resources. And so they feel that this sort of balances out the right to know, the right of the public to know, and the right to privacy, which they say right now is unbalanced. So some of those supporters, including the ACLU of Maine and the Maine Prisoner Advocacy Coalition, says that criminal convictions, even after a sentence is served, can have unintended consequences. There is data that shows it is harder to find a job or find an apartment, and that this will really help allow people with a criminal history to reach their full potential, they say.
And on the opposition side, why do opponents think that this process of automatically sealing those criminal records would be going too far?
Well, they say that this blanket approach could have its own unintended consequences. I mean, there are consequences for the press who may need to access criminal records for research. There are also academics who maybe are researching criminal sentencing trends. I spoke with the president of the Maine Freedom of Information Coalition, Judy Meyer. She's also the former executive editor of the Sun Journal, and she worries that this bill could basically affect our insight into the foundation of how the criminal justice system works, because there's not easy access to those records. Last December, the Criminal Records Review Commission, which included Meyer and others, issued a final report and recommended that this issue continue to be studied. And they actually drafted the legislation that was introduced this session that would direct the Maine Commission on Public Defense Services to assist individuals with the existing process to seal records. And they feel that is a more appropriate action at this time.
So plenty of layers here to work through. Emily Bader with the Maine-Monitor, thank you for the work you're doing, first of all, but also for sharing your latest work with us. Remember, you can read this full story and much more right now online at mainemonitor.org.